Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some things we have got to talk about. There's some that's trending hard right now on the internet. Yes, I wanted to talk to you guys about this earlier, but you know, there was a protest going on, and I felt obligated to show you guys what was going on, because it's not every day that you see protests anywhere in the vicinity, anywhere in my area, okay, in my town, etc. A lot of times you see it in New York, you see it, you'll see it in Florida, you see it in California, but not every day do you see it in my neck of the woods, okay? So I had to share some of that with you guys, and that was just insane and hell of a turnout. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation then. But we got to get into this conversation. This is crazy, okay? So we have got to talk about this. So do me a favor, before we get into everything, hit that like button down below, crush it, do what it do, hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms, please and thank you. If you are watching on other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, make sure you hit that follow button, okay? Hit that subscribe button down below if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Make sure you hit that notification bell, okay? As well, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right, on both platforms, that'd be awesome, okay? But of course, most importantly, don't forget to hit that like button down below and subscribe. All right, but make sure that notification bell is on, so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because a lot of times it's be random do. All right, then of course hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support this channel if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated, because we talk about a lot of things on this channel, guys. A lot of things. And we cover a lot of things going on both sides of the spectrum, politically and non-political and all that stuff. So go, please. Make sure you subscribe, support if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay? That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, guys. We got to get this conversation going. All right. And yes, again, like I said, I appreciate you guys spending some time with me this early afternoon. Like I said, did not know that there was going to be protests going on anywhere in town. And then I found out that there was a bunch of them. So I went and checked it out. Right. So again, I appreciate you spending some time with me. And of course, I know everybody feels some type of way about it, whether they are for the protest or not for the protest. Nonetheless, everyone has their right for everybody has their freedom of speech, right? Their right to speak freely and make their voice heard, say what they need to say, etc. So it was nice to hear just people saying what they were there for, why they were there. And then, of course, we had an anti-protester there, screaming at the protesters as well. It was nice to hear just his perspective on everything. And of course, that was interesting as well, right? But nonetheless, that was a very interesting situation to just even be a part of and just see in my city. And apparently there's a lot. Like I said before, there's a lot of protests going around throughout the world right now. Okay, right now as we speak, I'm sure there's other content creators doing the same thing I just did. Boots on the ground in the area, even drove out of their way, like myself, drove out of my way to get to a place to see the protest, to talk to a few people. Mine was cold and wet. Okay, I'm just going to be real. It was cold and wet. I was soaked to the bone. Okay, when I finally got into my car and got back home, soaked. Okay, and I'm surprised my equipment is still working, which is amazing because I thought I was going to lose. I thought I was going to lose my sound equipment. I thought I was going to lose. It was bad. Okay, it was really. The stuff was so wet, right? How wet was that stuff? That sounds weird. Okay, that sounds like a weird thing. Speaking of weird things, we got to get into this conversation. So I appreciate you guys coming in and being a part of the conversation earlier today. And I know some people felt some type of way that some people were like, I'm unsubbing. Really? Because I'm covering a protest? Really? Come on. Some people need to get over themselves. Okay? Some people really do. All right? Because there's going to be, just like any other media outlet, they cover everything, guys. Don't they? Don't they cover everything as much as they can? If there's a protest, a massive protest on one side or on the other, don't they cover it? Sure, there's, I understand the media very much are biased and all that stuff, but at the same time, really? People getting in their fee-fees because I'm covering a protest? Stop, y'all. Stop. Come on. Okay? There's more things to be upset about. Okay? And yeah, I cover everything. I've been covering everything. Okay? We talk about everything from true crime all the way to pop culture and sometimes political. Especially if it's in my town, in my city, I'm going to drive out there. Okay? And we going to cover it. And I'm going to ask people why they're there. Okay? Seriously. So again, some people just get a little too sensitive and they need to get over themselves. Real talk. All right? But again, I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to keep covering the news. And like I said, if there's some things going on, I'm going to go talk about it. If it's convenient, like if I don't have to fly somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Like if it's just conveniently in, like within a drive, and I just show up and cover some and cover some of it, talk to the people, ask the people what they're protesting about, I think that should be okay, right? Because I'm sure a lot of y'all want to know, regardless on what side of the fence you're on, you want to hear what the opposing side is doing. Why are they doing this protest? Why are they there? And apparently they were all there for a cornucopia of different reasons. Each person that we talked to, some were there for veterans, in regards to things that are going on for veterans. Then some people were like, I'm here for my daughters. I'm here for women. I'm here for this, that, and the third. I mean, there was so many different things, Social Security, etc. Right? And that's what we're here for. And if there's more stuff like that, we will be covering it. So just deal with it. You know what I mean? Just deal with it. Okay? With all the love. I love you guys. I love you. Just caressing your faces. I love it. Yeah. I love you guys. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right, Lauren S. You're absolutely right. It's just funny. You know what I mean? It's just funny. Okay. Just people are funny. Like I said, people getting in their fee-fees for no reason. But we're here to talk about something else, which is very weird. And again, I appreciate you guys being there earlier. Like I said, not everybody was interested, but it's okay. Right? It was covered nonetheless. And this is what's going on in our world. And we need to talk about those things. We need to cover those things. We need to talk about those things. I don't talk too much on the political side of things because it starts an upheaval in the chats a lot of times. But when it comes to something like that, we have got to talk about it and we have got to cover it. Right? And that's why I love the family chat, because for the most part, you guys can agree to disagree and hear and talk to each other. Right? For the most part. But let's get into this. This is weird. And I felt like this would be a perfect kind of like palate cleanser. Okay. Because again, like I said, people were feeling some type of way in the chat with what I was covering a little bit ago. And I'm like, you know what? This is just too funny for us not to talk about it. Okay. And too diabolical and too much of a bombshell that it just shows a little bit more about what the diddler really could be all about. Yes, we got Terrence Howard. I was about to say Tyler Perry. Terrence Howard out here saying that Diddy had a dream. Diddy had some dreams about maybe getting it in. with Terrence Howard. And like Terrence Howard said in Hustle and Flow, every man got to have a dream, man. Man, everybody got to have a dream. So maybe that was Diddy's dream, to one day have intimate relations with T. Howard. You can't make it up. Well, maybe, I don't know. Some people are like, oh, this is cap. He's just crazy. Because let's be real. Okay, with all due respect, Terrence Howard, he's vibrating on a whole nother level, y'all. Like he's on a whole nother level. Like he's somewhere else. Okay, with all due respect. All right. He Terrence Howard. I don't know if you guys have heard any of his interviews or the things that he's talked about. And with all due respect, I love him. I think he's a great actor. Fantastic actor. Hustle and Flow was fantastic. Okay. Real talk. Fantastic. And he's been in so many other movies and he's so talented. Okay. Man can play multiple instruments. He can act his butt off. All right. He's a very handsome looking man. And apparently he's extremely smart. But also he is spinning off this planet one rotation at a time. I'm just being real. He's just, he's a unique one. Okay. But maybe it's just because his brilliance and his intelligence transcends regular people's brain waves, that maybe we just don't understand them because of that. I'm just saying. Yeah, hustle and blow. I didn't mean it like that, but hustle and flow. And then Empire, let's not forget Empire. Yeah, absolutely. Empire was fantastic, baby. Okay. It was great until, they jumped the shark, but that's another conversation in itself. And no, they didn't literally jump the shark. It's a phrase from way back in the day, Happy Days. Like apparently the show is doing great until literally the Fonz, if I'm correct, jumped a shark on the show. Not kidding. And so now the phrase is jump the shark. So when the show takes like a complete left turn and it's like, whoa, that didn't make any sense, but we're going there now, right? A lot of TV shows happen to do that, especially shows that last a little bit too long. You know what I mean? Like when they should have ended 2 seasons ago. For example, Dexter. Sorry, I know Dexter's got a whole bunch of spin-off shows and everything, but Dexter, for example, it was cool until about season 4. And then it was just like, where are they going? Just so you know, they kind of jumped the shark and it's like, it was so good until they did that. Right. So moving on. Terrence Howard, very talented individual. Yes, let's not forget about Best Man. Okay. Loop dances. Okay. Let's not forget that. Talented dude. Okay. Handsome man. Very talented. Apparently brilliant mind. Okay. So he went on this podcast, the Patrick Bet David podcast. And if you don't know Patrick Bet David, he's got it's a huge podcast. Okay. He's one of those guys who, probably made a crap ton of millions of dollars in real estate. So now he can, do these podcasts and motivate people because he's got money and we don't. You know how it is. It's like here in my garage, I got the Lambo and I know you want to be like me. So read these books that I just wrote and you'll, in time, after you read my books, you'll be driving this same Lambo in about 10 years. Right? So, with all due respect, he's one of those guys. But it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? Everyone's got their hustle. But he's got a platform. It's a very big platform. He's more on the conservative side. Not saying that's a bad thing. Just giving you guys a breakdown of who Patrick Bet David's platform, what he's all about. And he has, with all due respect, he has some really great guests on his show. He does. He has a lot of people on his show. We talked about just a little bit ago. We saw Cuba Gooding Jr. on there with his dry sounding ass, right? I just wanted to give him water the entire time, right? But nonetheless, he has a lot of really great interviews and all that. Okay. And so he had Terrence Howard on his show. And this clip that we're about to see in just a little bit is going uber viral because of what Terrence Howard says about his encounter with the diddler. So let's get into this, okay? He says, did he try to get with him? You know, I'm trying to be nice, but he tried to him. Yeah, this is crazy. So let's take a look at this. But he said, but I kept my man card. So I'm assuming when he says that, I'm assuming when he says that he kept his man card, they didn't do the hibbity dibbity. That's what he's basically saying, right? From my understanding. So Terrence Howard just gave a glimpse into what he said was the dark side of Hollywood. And one example he used from his personal experience was none other than Diddy. The film and TV actor was a recent guest on Patrick Bet-David's PBD podcast, where he claimed he was targeted by Diddy for under the guise of coaching. Yes, Diddy wanted to get some acting coaching from Terrence Howard. And that was his way to groom Terrence into maybe doing the sideways samba. When a man loves a man. That's not how the song goes. But you know what I mean? That's what he was hoping for. Teach me the way of the samurai. And then I want to put my... okay. You know what I mean? We're moving on. So, Terrence Howard doesn't say exactly when this alleged attempt by Diddy occurred, but claims he was invited to Diddy's place when the music mogul asked Terrence for acting lessons. And I'm sure it was like, hey, let's hang out. We're going to be cool. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be cool. We're going to hang out. You're going to teach me how to act. And that's it. And he's like, okay, we're going to work on this, to be or not to be speech. And he's like, nah, I just want to get in them jeans, which is weird, right? I mean, now that we hear about Diddy, this is not a far-fetched story, right? And some people don't believe Terrence Howard. They think that Terrence Howard has literally left the building. Like, he's there, but he ain't there. You feel me? And I'm telling you right now, I believe Terrence Howard. I know. Stop. Pascal, you capping. I believe him. I do. I'm just saying. Terrence claims Diddy had no material to work on. How fitting. And just stared at me, quote unquote, stared at me a while before asking Terrence to play some music. Again, to just stare at him. Nothing was accomplished. When Diddy invited him to come back over another time, Terrence Howard said he realized Diddy only wanted to have relations with him. To be clear, he didn't accuse Diddy of any wrongdoing. Terrence said, a lot of people give up their quote-unquote man card to make it in Hollywood and become successful, but he refused to do so at any point. You know what? Here we go. All right, Terrence. Damn right, Terrence. That's how you drive. That's how you drive, Terrence. But unfortunately, he still became a name, did he not? Hasn't he? He's Terrence Howard. He made it to Empire, Best Man, etc. Hustle and Flow. Everybody got to have him dream, man. Come on, man. You know what I mean? I ain't talking about mankind. I'm talking about mankind. You know what I mean? Man. Come on now. Big, huge movies. Now, I know Hustle and Flow was a low budget movie, but it was huge, right? Huge movie. Yeah, he was in the Avengers, but then he lost the job. He lost the gig. And then what's his name? Oh, come on, man. What's his name? He took over. What's his name? Damn it. That's gonna drive me crazy. Who took over his spot? Because he was in the first Iron Man. And he was supposed to take Don Cheadle. Thank you. Don Cheadle. Okay. Fantastic actor, by the way. Fantastic actor. But Don Cheadle took over his job. And I don't know if it was a thing of like, I want more money. Hey, man. I need some more ducats, man. Maybe he needed some more money. Maybe that's what it was. Okay. But nonetheless, he still was in movies and he still was he's still a huge name. He's still Terrence Howard. Now, I know not everybody knows Terrence Howard's name, okay? Just like not everybody knows Don Cheadle's name or Anthony Mackie's name, even though he was the lead. Now he's the new Captain America. Still, people are like, who that black boy name? What's his name? They don't know who he is, but these are all talented, great actors, but they're still making big movies and making big money in Hollywood to begin with, right? But Terrence Howard is still a name in my personal opinion. Okay. So he said that's the thing. He refused to give up his quote unquote man card. And you know exactly what he means. He refused to give up that booty. He refused to give it up. Okay. He refused. And damn right. Why do that? Right? If you ain't into it and if you ain't down for it, why do it? You know what I'm saying? Moving on. Needless to say, Patrick was taken aback by the story. He didn't even mention Diddy, but he did ask about the darker side of the business. Okay. And of course, they're waiting for Diddy's reps and have not heard any word back. What else is new? Let me tell you. We should not be surprised about any kind of conversation. And what's interesting about this, by the way, is that you have someone like David asking this question like, hey, the dark side of Hollywood. Let's talk about the dark side of Hollywood. And Terrence Howard's like, yeah, man, I got some stories to tell you. And he resorts straight over to his experience with Diddy. He could have talked about anybody else. But he talked about Diddy. That says something. That's massive, in my personal opinion. And I will say this too. Good on him for not giving it up for the sake of some sort of financial or some sort of business gain, right? Name recognition or whatever, if that was the case, right? You got somebody like Diddy, who's a huge, massive name, coming up to you and be like, hey, I need you to teach me how to act, only to find out that he's actually trying to get in the sheets with you. That's a massive situation. And the fact that he didn't even bend a knee, I was going to say something else, but it sounded too innuendo-y, okay? But he's not willing, and even bending a knee sounds weird too. But you know what I mean? He was not willing to do that, okay? And he still was able to build a career like he has as of late. Now, again, what he's saying is not a far-fetched thing. This is not like some wild thing that we never knew about. Oh my gosh, you're telling me that there are people out here that will try to take your innocence. Let's just say that. Because it's not only just man card. How about the woman card too? Take your innocence. Because you can still be innocent and be a grown person. Your innocence is still there. You still have it. It's beautiful. It's pure. Hold on to it if you can, right? But for somebody to go in and try to taint you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but But you know what I mean, okay? Trying to destroy your character, trying to destroy who you are by taking something that is precious to you, right? Like your integrity, like yourself, so on and so forth, right? Your soul. I think it's very important that we hold on and hold true to what we have, right? All jokes aside, I think it's absolutely important that we hold on to what we have. Because this is all we got. This body, this soul, our mental health, this is all we got. And there are people out here that are going to do everything they can to make it. They're going to be like, I will do whatever it takes. Okay? I will do whatever it takes to get to that next level. Because that's what I need to do. But what happens to these people? He even says it too in this video, which we're going to be seeing here in a second. He even says it too. He says, this what happens is they have to live with the choices that they made. They have to live with that. And that's why they start drinking. That's why they start piling on the substances. That's why they become even more deeper, find themselves going deeper and deeper in depression, deeper and deeper in addiction. And then that's why they either lose their minds, or they end up in rehab, or they end up dead. Real talk. And I'm not sitting here saying every single person, every single star has to go through this rite of passage, like, giving up they booty, right? I'm not sitting there saying that. Not all of them do. Some of them, allegedly like Terrence Howard, are lucky to just get by their talent, their charisma, and let's just be real, their ability to have either a really good agent that gives a damn about their ass, literally and figuratively speaking, or they're able to go out there and schmooze the right way and get the gigs because they're actually talented, not because they were born into the game. Which, by the way, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. You're like, dang, he's in the movie. Wow, I didn't know he was such and such and such and such's kid. Wow. Oh, I didn't know she was such and such and such and such's kid. Wow, I didn't know they were all together. Wow, they're brother and sister. Wow, like, I'm just telling you, it happens all the time. The nepotism is at an all-time high, guys. And you'd be surprised what you see even outside of Hollywood, the corporate, etc. You see all these people, you're like, damn, you just got this gig because your daddy's the CEO. Dagnabbit! Stop it. And I'm out here, throwing out coffee and fetching for you. You just happen to be born into this. I'm just saying. It's insane. But if you notice in the Hollywood game, a lot of those people, you'd be like, oh, wow, he's the lead in this movie. Whoa, I didn't know he was the kid. He was the kid of these two. So they bumped uglies and made this child. Ain't that something? Looks exactly like him. Hey, decent actor, but really? You couldn't have found anybody better? Really? Okay then. And then all these other people out here that are just as talented, if not more talented, even better looking, have more charisma in their pinky than some of these people that are on screen. They have to give up the doggone booty. I'm telling you, we see it all the time. Okay? The nepotism is running rampant. Again, you're going to hear what he's saying here. And what he's saying is it's not wrong. And I will also say this too. And let me just say this, because there are some really, really talented kids that are Nepo babies. There are some freaking talented kids. You're like, wow, they got together. Wow, this kid is talented. I can't wait to see what they can do, right? But there's a lot of other ones you're like, wow, you're just a name, or you're just in these movies because your parents are famous. Sorry. Your parents are famous. And that's why you're here. And somebody said this, and I don't remember. There was a comedian that said this, and I saw it in an interview, and I couldn't agree with him more. I was like, yeah, I'm rooting for him while I'm sitting on the toilet. Anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm like, he said something. He said it in a tweet, I think. And he said something along the lines of, nowadays, it doesn't matter. Talent doesn't matter anymore. Fame outweighs the talent. That's what he said. It doesn't matter if you're talented. It just matters if you're famous. That's it. That's it. It doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter if you are virtuosic in the music scene or can act your butt off. Doesn't matter. Now it's just a matter of if you're famous. If you're a big name because you did some stupid jackass videos or some pranks or you're a part of some scandal of some sort, then people give a damn about you. And then suddenly you're the lead in movies. You're getting Grammys. Not saying that anyone like this got Grammys, but you know what I'm saying. You're getting nominations. You're walking on the red carpet and all that. Forget fame or forget talent. I'm sorry. It's all about fame. So now we see the talent get thrown in the back, or the talent gets desperate, and then they become the sacrificial lambs. I'm telling you right now. I'm not saying anything that's outlandish or out of this world. These are facts. Next thing you know, you got somebody who's a talented songwriter, wrote a song that's going to be a mega hit. They go in, they get the opportunity to become the next big name, or at least this is what they tell you. And then they get you all messed up. They put you through the ringer. Sometimes you sign some paperwork that you didn't even read the fine print. Next thing you know, you got another young, bright looking, young little, tiny little tot, okay? Rocking your song that you wrote. Sometimes you even wrote the music too. But that's not your voice on the song anymore. It's somebody else's. But they were buttering you up, saying that you were going to be the next big thing, only to find out they just wanted that hit song. And yeah, sure, you make a little bit of money, but you don't become the name that you wanted to become. Just saying. Just saying. You know what? 720. I'm sorry for the tangent. I'm sorry. Really, guys, I'm sorry. But this kind of stuff makes me feel some type of way, because I know so many talented people that have had the opportunity. They were there and then they got screwed over because there was somebody else in the game, that their parents were in the game and they were just born into the game. It had nothing to do with somebody actually fighting tooth and nail to get into the game. You see what I'm saying? Showing nothing but the fact that they are talented without question. I've seen it so many times. But that's exactly what I mean. How's Northwest headlining a Lion King show? How? Okay. And she was not good. I'm sorry, y'all. And I get it. There's a lot of kids out here that will probably do the same performance. But this is the reason why they're not on Broadway. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Then that's why you go and see the local school production of The Lion King with your kid in it playing Simba. And you go, oh my God, he was so good. But you're not going, oh, he's going to be in the next Home Alone. He's the little Macaulay Culkin. You're not doing that, guys. I'm being dead ass. You go, that was great, kid. That was great. But you know what I mean? Because some kids just don't have it. And then some kids do. And when they do, that's when you're putting them out and you're auditioning them and all that kind of stuff. You see what I'm saying? What Northwest did was basically what you'd see at a local school performance. And yet, why was she in there? Oh, yeah. She's Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's baby. That's it. Come on, y'all. Come on now. I'm just saying. and watch her be like some. Don't get me wrong. If she clearly is already becoming a name, right? Northwest, right? So hey, if that's the lane, she's already set for stardom. It's already begun. It's a wrap. We are going to be hearing Northwest's name till we all leave this planet. And our kids, are going to be loving her music. Why? Because they've already started implementing her and her name in the game. She's already part of the system. And it has nothing to do with talent. And I have yet to hear or find out if she even has talent. Personally, I don't know. All I know is she's a kid. And she happens to be the kid of two of the biggest names in the freaking world, y'all. You know what I mean? So, just saying. Sorry to go on that tangent, but I'm just saying it aggravates me because there are so many people that I've met in my life where I'm like, damn, you could really be something. But you just didn't get that opportunity. Or you get nudged out of the way because somebody else is either born into the game because of their parents, or even, this is even more messed up, or the parents are very wealthy and they can pay their way to getting their kid into the movie. Ooh. Okay, we talking today. Guys. We talking today. Let me tell you something real quick. Before we go into this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We are going into a little bit of a tangent. I'm sorry. This is more than just a tangent, okay? I apologize, but let me tell you something. Let me peep you on some game real quick. All right. Okay. There are some people that get into the game solely because they have very rich parents. Very rare. Do you have a kid that gets into the game that is actually talented? Like, seriously talented. Sometimes they got to cut their teeth over time and then they get better later on because they've been practicing, working at it, 10,000 hours or whatever the hell it's called. You know what I mean? And then eventually they get good. You're like, oh, wow, that was actually a pretty good movie. That was a pretty good performance. Or they actually can sing now. They're pretty good now. Wow. Or they found their niche. They found their lane. Okay. But majority of the time, there's a lot of people that have parents. They're born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Their parents have money. Not every millionaire that's out here is out here. You feel me? Not all of them are out here like Elon Musk. Okay. They all are doing their lives, having a great time, living a normal life. Not all of them want everybody to know that they got ducats like that, but they all have one or two kids that want to be a name. So then there's that movie that comes out. They know a few people, and the kid really wants to be an actor or an actress. And then guess what happens? They throw a whole bunch of money at photos for headshots for the kids, acting classes, get them in front of those casting directors. And then when that movie comes, an opportunity for a movie to come out, they go, we're willing to drop $1 million into the movie if you let my daughter or my son play the best friend of X, Y, and Z in this movie or this horror flick. What do you think that producer and that filmmaker is going to say? They're going to be like, oh, say less, bro. Yeah. What's his or her name? Oh, she was fantastic. They were fantastic. I forgot. Funny how we forgot about her audition tape. We're going to take a look at it really quick, and we'll be right back. 3 seconds later, we just saw it. She's fantastic. She'd be perfect for the role. Yes. Now give us some monies. Happens like that too. It does. Just so you guys know. So, it's a very interesting thing, guys. We live in a very wild world. It's unfortunate because someone like Terrence Howard is maybe, if he's telling the full truth, he's maybe one of the very few lucky ones that are in the game that don't get bop. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So, It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And then you look at people like Justin Bieber, you look at all these other child stars that just they have these mental health moments, or they go into deep depression. They find addiction of some sort. And even with Justin Bieber right now, he's looking very bad. He's looking wrecked. Okay. Maybe he's, on his way back out of whatever he's working through. And sometimes you got to work through things and it gets ugly before it gets better. I understand that part too. But given the fact that he even has to go through that stuff is very telling to me. Now, does that have to do with Diddy? Don't know. But all these kids, all these child actors, all these child stars, look at every single last one of them. I've yet to see one that just had a good, normal life, did some great movies, and grew up in front of us on TV or on screen without a hitch. No offense, but I've yet to see any of them not have some sort of hiccups or hiccup in their life. And I know that we all have hiccups. We're not perfect, but I'm just saying, imagine growing up in front of the public eye. Not every single kid goes through deep depression or addiction issues. Okay? Just the regular average kid. Not every single one does. You know what I mean? And I feel like majority of them all go through some sort of mess. And it's wild. It's because of what they're getting put through. Real talk. Look at Shia LaBeouf. Oh, my dear Lord. Oh, my dear Lord. Right? Hence the reason why it's like I would love for kids to just not do movies or the entertainment business. Wait till they get old enough and then go out there. Right? Brooke Shields, exactly. Right? Exactly. So like I said, it's just very interesting. Hollywood is a very interesting machine. I still love Hollywood, but there's also a lot of things that I don't like about Hollywood. Okay? It's sad because it's not just the adults that are getting destroyed mentally. It's the kids too. And that aggravates the hell out of me too. But yeah, guys, please don't forget to hit that like button down below if you appreciate the conversation. I'm sorry for going on that tangent. It just fires me up because I just feel like this is so important, especially those out there that are trying to become, that name, that want to be successful in the game and all that. But I do truly believe that those that are in the game right now, I truly believe that there are a lot of good people in the game. I'm not sitting here saying that every person that goes and wants to become a filmmaker suddenly is just part of the system and they're just evil people. No, just like any other system, right? There are good cops and there are bad cops and so on, right? You can click that same thing and drag it over to any industry, right? It just sucks when you hear more and more of these kids, for example, just getting mentally destroyed. And we're seeing it in real time. And then they become tabloid headlines, etc. And all we do is sit there and watch their mental decline in real time in 4K. Something's got to change. And maybe Diddy is the start of it all. Maybe. Or maybe not. But without further ado, we're going to get into this video. Like I said, I just had to get that off my chest. I'm telling you right now, I'm not kidding. Some of those people, you're like, yo, how the hell did this person get in this movie? And then you realize why. Oh, their parents are rich. Oh, their parents are rich. Like, don't get me wrong. I know some people love them some Taylor Swift, right? But do you really think Taylor Swift would have been successful if she didn't have millionaire parents? Think about that for a second. I'm just saying, she had millionaire parents. She did not need or want for nothing in her life. With all due respect, it's not like she was living off the street with her guitar and she was just playing her songs. No, she had very wealthy parents, right? Very wealthy parents, so they can flood the record company or the recording studio with a crap ton of money. Let's get her in front of people. Let's get her, blah, 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 blah. She has money. All these other struggling artists don't have that same opportunity. They're not born with a silver spoon in their mouth. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, don't at me. With all due respect, Taylor Swift has made a name for herself. I'm not talking about her, but I'm telling you about the opportunities and the privileges that she has that most struggling artists don't even get a chance to have in their life. They're the ones eating the ramen noodles. They're the ones doing everything they can to get out there, get in front of the right people, so on and so forth. And for her and maybe a lot of other artists, they've been able to get in front of the right people because they're able to shuckle some of that money. Here's a couple ducats, man. This is okay. $5,000 for you to meet my daughter. $5,000 for you to hear some of her songs. She's beautiful. She's talented. She can sing her songs and she plays the guitar. $5,000 for you to see her? Cool. Say less. You know what I mean? Is that Spooner with 2 O's or U? You know what I'm saying? So again, yeah, man. Thank you. Alente. Okay. Is it Alente? Hopefully I'm saying that right. Alente. But yeah, this is not an attack on Taylor. Okay. It's just facts. Nothing but facts. So again, it's just very interesting. You know, everyone gets to a lot of people get to the brass ring or try to get to the brass ring. Some of them use a little bit of money. Some of them have to just use pure grit and talent. And some are born with the money, with the talent and the looks. Taylor Swift is a talented person. We already know that. Okay. But she's got the looks. She's got the parents with the monies. You see what I'm saying? She was just a lucky person, right? But a lot of other people are just not like that or just not as lucky, right? So let me get that out of my system. We're going to get into this. We got to talk about this. Let's hear what he got to say. Terrence Howard talking about Diddy trying to get them cheeks.
Short life in
why do you think
world.
that is? What the creative side is?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much shit to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. You know, who knows what happened to Philip? Who knows what he had to do in order to get to where he was at? There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it.
Now, let me just say this. For those of y'all who don't understand what he's talking about, or that you're going, who's Philip? Who's Heath? He's talking about Heath Ledger, and he's talking about Philip Seymour Hoffman, just so you know. If you don't know Philip Seymour Hoffman, fantastic actor, okay? But he had some issues for show, okay? He died of, he OD'd, okay? He had a little bit of, what's the code word for that? He had a little bit of H in his system, and he OD'd on that, okay? But if you don't know him, he's a very, very talented actor. Honestly, I've met him 2 different times, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Outside of New York, really nice guy. But at that time, he reeked of alcohol both times. Reeked. And it was like in the morning, both times. So I think he was dealing with a lot of addictions for a very, very long time. Okay. But this was like when I met him, he was at the height of his career. Okay. Or he was right on that up and up. You know what I mean? Making a name for himself, being in a bunch of stuff. This was like this is right after Magnolia, the movie Magnolia came out and all that. Okay. And then he had a slew of different other movies that came out, after that too. Dude is crazy talented. All right. But yeah, met him 2 different times. He was cool. He was teaching some classes that I was in back in the day. Yeah, it was kind of like a guest class, guest speaker type thing. And he he just reeked of liquor, and cigarettes. It's sad, but very talented guy, very, very talented guy, and he should not be gone. And then, of course, Heath Ledger. We already know they say arguably one of the best actors to portray Joker in any Batman movie. He won an Oscar for it, and he had already passed away at that time. Very talented guy, but he also OD'd on pills at that time too. So again, a lot of these guys are deeply tormented for God knows what. He's going to continue talking about why.
And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. Well, when you lose your man card, that's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it. A man gives it.
Okay, I don't know how y'all feel about that. I'll let the conversation go on in the conversation in the family chat and all that. But when it comes to this part, though, that's very interesting in my personal opinion, where he's like, nah, men give it. We don't take it. I leave that conversation up to you guys.
So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
Now, I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things. When you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it.
I'm sorry, he's saying he's never seen anybody recover from that. Giving up it's almost like their a V card for their boo-hootie. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like it should stay. I mean, depending on how you live your life. Okay. I mean, do you love who you want to love as long as it's consensual, that kind of thing. I don't care that that about me. Okay. Love who you love, blah. Right. But still for these guys that are out there in the game that are trying to become names, sometimes they got to he's saying sometimes they got to give that up. They got to give it up so that they can proceed. And we're hearing that and seeing that more and more with these allegations about Diddy, right? And then after they give it up, it's like there's no turning back, right?
That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone.
I guess he's saying when you go fluid, you suddenly later feel stupid. That doesn't work. But you know what I mean. Okay. I agree with him as far as like if you are to give that up, okay, when it's never something that you ever thought you'd ever be doing, but you're like, okay, we got to do this thing. It's time to come and do this, right? There's no turning back, okay? There's no turning back. He's not wrong. He's not wrong with that. And then what happens? Like he just said in the very beginning, that's when you start plying yourself with maybe drinking more, or you're taking, certain type of substances, so on and so forth, because you're like, I can't believe, especially just speaking in a man's perspective, okay? Heterosexual man's perspective. There's no way you're living it down, because now you got to live with that for the rest of your life in your head. And I feel like that's the same thing with women too. We can say the same thing about women. There are women out here that will do whatever it takes. This is why the casting couch exists, if you get what I'm saying, where it's like, I will do whatever it takes to get this role. But what happens? You get the acknowledgement, you become the name, but all you're remembering is you had to do this one ridiculous, unthinkable thing that was so beyond your character just for this role that, like I said, you'll never live it down for yourself. Now, some people can disconnect, turn their brain off during the act and even after the act, and just say, as long as I get what I need, I'm good, right? But some people can't. And that's why subconsciously they either start diving into more, making more mistakes, doing things that they shouldn't be doing, when they subconsciously maybe start to drink a little bit more, party a little bit harder, take things out on people that they love, their frustrations, their anger, so on and so forth. Next thing you know, they're a headliner on TMZ with a mugshot talking about, DV, etc. Those things are real. Those things are real.
You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card, no matter what.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
And he's like, wait a second. I didn't even ask you this question, but okay. We going here? Okay. We going here.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
Brought up
They
Bieber.
can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card.
Let me tell you something. Bieber was a kid. Allegedly, Bieber's still, he's in his 30s. I think he's 30 now, something like that. Somebody knows it. I know a believer is in the chat. I'm sure you're gonna be like, he's 29, 235 days old to be exact, and 5 minutes and 1 second old. You could tell me how old he is, but I think he's in his 30s. Now, here's the thing: when it comes to what happened to Bieber, thank you, Tyler. He's 31, so I'm right. He's in his 30s. Okay. The Google said he's 31. Thank you so much, love. So here's the thing. What happened to him? He was a baby. He was a kid. So as far as the man card goes, I do believe that people have an opportunity to redeem themselves, right? I think that there are people that you can bounce back. It's not like once a sinner. Well, we are all sinners if you're religious of in any kind, okay? But we're all sinners. But I'm just saying, once a sinner doesn't mean, or once say somebody's like an S worker, right? That doesn't mean that you can't not become something else. S worker is not stamped on your forehead, tattooed on your forehead for life. You could still redeem yourself. You could still transcend from that lifestyle, right? So the same thing with him being a kid when these things allegedly happened to him, because we have no confirmation of said things, right? I think it's important that it's like, I don't think he lost his man card. I think his man card's still intact. He can still maintain, and it doesn't even matter about the man card, but I'm just using the man card as an analogy. There is still an opportunity for him to come back and grab that man card again, okay? There's still an opportunity for him to get well and reclaim his mental stability. Acknowledge what has happened, if those things actually did happen to him, and transcend from that, right? Just like somebody who's an addict, I get it that they're addicts for life, but at the same time, doesn't mean that they're that they're using right then and there forever. You can still beat the addictions and move on with your life and stay clean and sober for the rest of your days. It means you have to put in some work, but it can still be done. That's what I truly believe. Just like a stripper isn't a stripper for life. Just because you were dancing in that gentleman's club does not mean that later on you found a better life for yourself. Doesn't mean that you can't transcend and be something different, be something else. You see what I'm saying? It's not once a stripper, always a stripper. No, I disagree with that, right? We all have an opportunity to turn our whole lives around. Every second is an opportunity to turn it all the way around.
You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process, I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here as men.
Now, what he's saying here, he's not wrong with that too, right? These people that are willing to give up everything, even their bodies, for that role, for that gig, etc., they get the notoriety, they get the money, they become the household name and all that stuff. What happens? They end up saying, and a lot of times you hear this, they always say, be careful what you wish for. Because a lot of times it's not what you want. Why would they say that? If you work your butt off to become the success that you've always wanted, you've sacrificed blood, sweat, and tears, countless hours of being alone, working on your craft, whatever it may be, and then you finally get that success. I feel like a lot of people are saying that, like, be careful what you wish for, is solely because of what they're willing to sacrifice or what they do sacrifice. And a lot of times what they sacrifice is most precious to them. But they make a deal with the devil. And no, I'm not trying to get religious here. I'm just saying, real talk. They make a deal with the devil. And the next thing you know, the one thing that they saw that they held so dear to them, like their bodies, their integrity, their family, their loved ones, what happens? They sacrifice that time. They sacrifice their family or their body. And what happens? They lose everything. And they're sitting in that ivory tower. They got the stacks of money in there, seemingly on paper, looking like they're living on cloud nine, but in actuality, they're dreading every single moment of it, and they're more depressed and more alone than they ever were before. Why is that? I believe that we can get our dreams on our terms without losing those things that we hold dear to our hearts. That's what I truly believe. So I say, go after the things that you dream of. Go after your dreams. But never, ever, ever throw your integrity away or what you hold dear in your heart. I truly believe if you work hard, it comes to you, period. You don't have to give something up. You don't have to consume something. You don't have to backstab that person that you love or care about just to get where you want to get to. Your finish line is still there. Still there. Still there. But a lot of people give it up because they want that cheat code, or they want that back road. They want that shortcut. And what ends up happening is you lose all this other stuff that you were going to gain. Family, love, self-freaking respect. No addictions, no mental health issues. All that goes bye-bye. All of it. Because you wanted a shortcut. Stay the course, guys. I know this sounds weird, like I'm on like some soapbox trying to be all like motivational and stuff, but I'm just trying to be real, okay? It's real. Seen this countless times, y'all. And we see it countless times. Feel like every other day we're reading something on TMZ or in the headlines of somebody losing their doggone mind. Real talk, because of them taking a shortcut. Don't take that shortcut, because most of the time that shortcut is filled with traps.
We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Hey, did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. I was.
Woo! Yeah, he's just sitting there watching him like, sup? And what's interesting is, in this game, you just don't know. You know what I'm saying? In the acting world, in the theater world, the filmmaking world, the entertainment business, you just don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. But at the same time, to me, it sounds like this guy is full-blown, Diddy, the diddler, is full-blown grooming him. He is finessing him to try to see what's up. And maybe he's thinking that just by sitting in the room and just being cool with him and just staring at him, he'll get the idea. But some of us just don't. A lot of guys don't see that. We don't catch that. All right. The gaydar, if that makes sense, it ain't running. You know what I'm saying? You're just like, okay, it's just two dudes hanging out, listening to the music. You know what I'm saying? Now he's looking at me weird. What's okay? Oh no. He wants to what? No, stop. Nah, he's just trying to make friends. But even Patrick Bet Davin's like, what? Say what again? For real? Okay, when a man loves a man.
It's like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back.
Okay. I mean, okay, I'm going to tell you something. Not every time does a guy just say, you want to do what with me? Man, I'm about to punch you in the mother mouth. You know what I mean? You don't, not every day does that happen. There's a way of putting somebody down and just putting them down easy. You know what I mean? You can easily just be like, oh, yeah, no. No. What really? Oh, no, man. No, I mean, no. You know what I mean? What else do you say? Aside from I'm going to punch you in the face. Hell is wrong with you. A lot of times he's just like, no. I guess you got two choices. I'm going to punch you in the face, man. Or no. All right, hold on. Let me get some of these super chats really quick. Charlie Miller, thank you so much for being a member for over 33 months, my Lord. You like me? You really like me? Almost 3 years. Damn. Anyway, Charlie, appreciate it. The news is supposed to cover all news. Do they unbiasedly? Do they? No. To unsubscribe from Pascal, seriously, people need to look at the facts. Yep. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Charlie, you are absolutely right. Like I said, people just, get all in their fee-fees and feel some type of way, right? Real talk. They just feel some type of way. Black Skate Queen, thank you so much for the love. Oh yeah, he did say that. Yeah, Ray J did say that. I mean, asses are being taken. I mean, I'm just asking what you can do for your country, and I'm just worried about my own ass. Yeah, that's something else. That's something else. Black Skate Queen again. Usher sold Bieber's man card to Diddy. That is what is being alleged. That is indeed the allegations, or at least the rumor. And of course, J Rip, thank you for gifting 5 new memberships. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Okay, I appreciate it. Welcome to the family, all 5 of you guys. J Rip just gave you some love, so all I ask you guys to do is pay it forward. Okay, Pay it forward, open the door for somebody, do something nice for somebody. It doesn't have to be on this channel, but just do something nice for somebody. Or if you want to pay it forward here by maybe gifting somebody else in the chat a membership, you're more than welcome to do that too. But like I said, pay it forward. It makes the world go round. Okay. A little positivity is what we need. And a little bit more laughter is what we need in this world. So, hey, if you can make your friend just do a quick little belly laugh, oh, ho, ho, you know what I mean? Like that, then yeah, do that. That's you paying it forward. All right. Let's move on though. So what's very interesting is he's sitting there going like, all these people are giving up. He goes quickly into Diddy and talking about his experience with the diddler. And that's some crazy stuff.
It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit. Because the man card means everything.
So I'm wondering why he stepped away from playing that role in Iron Man. He was playing that. I don't remember the name of but he plays a War Machine. Okay. And I'm wondering why he left that gig. Was it solely because of money, or was it because he wasn't willing to bend over? That's the question I'm kind of curious about as well. Again, let me tell you, he's had quite the career. He's had quite the opportunities and the roles that he's played in his life. So like I said, I'm just wondering, because I'm sure if he walked out right now and said, hey, man, I want to find a new gig, man, he would be able to find a gig pretty quickly because he's Terrence Howard. He's Terrence mother-loving Howard. But I am wondering, I heard it was about money, but you never know. Maybe it was something else, right? Maybe it was about money and not willing to bend over. Maybe he wasn't willing to bend over so that he could get more money for the role too. Think about that, okay? But let me get this. Black Skate Queen, thank you so much for the love. Wish these tariffs were around when Diddy was by baby oil and bulk. Yup, asses could have been saved. Well, yeah. I mean, they're now getting saved now. Future people are getting saved right now when he got caught. Okay. Nerd Report. What up, man? Said he left Marvel because Robert Downey Jr. was getting paid way more. Yeah, but he's the lead. It's not called War Machine. It's called Iron Man, baby. But I get it. I mean, or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know how the system works. Okay, but I am kind of curious if he wasn't, maybe he wasn't willing to, do extra for that extra cash, right? But it's not like the movie said Robert Downey Jr. and Terrence Howard in Iron Man. You know what I mean? It really didn't do that. It's just Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, right? But that's interesting nonetheless. Let's move on.
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast.
I'm going to roll that back a little bit. Just so he goes, I did not know we were rolling into this conversation. Now we're talking about saving booty holes.
I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit because the man card means everything.
Okay. And I get what he's saying. Nothing wrong with him saving his man card, saving his self and his integrity and all that. That's fine. Do you, right? But there's a lot of people out here that are willing to do whatever it takes, and they'll do that. What he's not willing to do. Interesting, right?
I had no idea we're going to go this direction with the podcast. This is absolute. But listen, we've talked about it. We've had a lot of the guys on to talk about this stuff. Are you done with Hollywood because of this specific reason?
I'm still working. I still, I haven't made the money necessary to do all of the other stuff. So I still have to go and do the chitlin circuit. I still have to do the job that I need to. But eventually, I've done what I set out to do, which was to redefine the universe. I've proven what I've set out to do, and that's why I have all the patents. Whether they evaluate it or not, that's up to them. But I've done the work, and finished it. Now I can go on and do whatever else we need to do. Hi, everyone. My name is...
Now, again, I know for a fact that Patrick Bet David probably saw that. Like, he was like, whoa, I didn't expect us to go here. But I'm sure he was like, oh, this is a viral clip. We got to cut this out. This is insane. Okay. And I'm sure the conversation is very interesting. Like the full podcast, the full interview. I'm sure it's wild, right? I'm sure it's definitely worth the listen. Okay. But nonetheless, this is very interesting. Just hearing him talk about, what he is willing to do and what he's not willing to do. But that's the thing, though. I think that there needs to be more respect on the integrity of people and the people who are just trying to protect themselves and not be willing to do any type of favors for some sort of financial or some sort of gain, right? Again, this is a tale as old as time. We've heard it a million times before. It goes from people who are little all the way to the adults. We've heard this a million times. People getting tossed around, people willing to go and go to some person's home so that they can get that 1 or 2 liner in a movie, or to get that lead role in a movie, and all that. The Weinstein is a perfect example of somebody who used that opportunity to an extent that is why he's in so much trouble that he's in right now. Okay. He's did the exact same thing. So who's to say that other people aside from Diddy aren't out here utilizing their fame, their power, their money, etc., to go and make people do things that they would not normally do? Like I said, you put people in a very interesting and maybe desperate place that gives a lot of very dangerous, demonic individuals an opportunity to try to have leverage, use that as leverage, and try to destroy the innocence of that person. And then that person never comes back the same. And like I said before, you can have all the riches in the world, but if you did anything to get to that place of fame by doing something that not only maybe tears you apart, demeans your family, your integrity, your body, that's not a life worth living. It's not. All the success and money in the world will not change the fact that you made that choice and that you were willing to do that said thing. Because no matter what, as much as they go, oh, it doesn't matter, I got what I got, now I'm making money. Well, at some point when the parties fade, when you're finally alone by yourself with your thoughts, what's going to happen? Those things are going to overwhelm you like a tidal wave. And a lot of people, most people, at least in Hollywood that we've seen, a lot of them don't come out of it okay. So like I said, you'll get there. If you are somebody who's trying to become the next big whatever, trust me, I wish there was an easier route, right? I wish it was easy. But I agree, exactly, Jesgy. Don't sell your soul. Don't. Because if you truly are talented, if you truly have what it really takes, those doors will open for you. They truly will. But that's the thing. As soon as that door opens, you step right through that thing. Because it's not very often when that door opens and stays open for a long period of time. But do it on your terms. Because I'm seeing somebody like Terrence Howard, and if he really did do it on his own terms, and he didn't have to give anything up, if you get what I'm saying, And he's one of the few. He's one of the very lucky. Because there's a plenty of people that would sing a different story. Like I said, Ray J even said it himself. You ask what I could do for my country, and all I'm thinking about is protecting my own ass. They're just stealing asses out here, man. Seriously. It's the truth. And this goes beyond just manhood, your man card, your woman card, your man card. It's just your integrity card, okay? Don't sell yourself. Don't. You're better off. But what? Oh, okay. Thank you so much. That is a visual. Literally, somebody's trying to touch the booty hole, and you just like that. I'm done. I am done. Oh my God. Thank you. I appreciate that, Black Skate. Thank you so much. You're my Ray J's top tier. Thank you. I'm just saying though, don't touch my booty hole. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Like you just got one, like just a turtle head poking out, just waiting for them to touch your down under, your chocolate starfish. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said leather Cheerio. I am done. Leather Cheerio. Okay, that's wrong. Y'all with your you just saying. She said, "You touch my booty hole, I'm gonna poop on it." You literally have to have one in the chamber. I mean, you literally have to have one in the chamber, y'all. Oh my God. Okay. You literally have to have one in the chamber to do that, S-dubs. Okay. That's some serious preparation. Okay. I'm just saying. Oh God. Oh, okay. But, okay. But anyway, but that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for somebody said backfire. I am done. Backfire. Oh, geez. Hold on. Black Skate, again, thank you so much for the love. S-dubs, I'm gonna remember that one when hubby's B-Day comes around. He'll never ask again. I am done. My God, you guys are hilarious. Y'all are too funny. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for being here. It really means a lot. Of course, protect yourselves. Okay? It's the whole body. It's not just one spot. Okay? It's not just the exit. Okay? It's everything else in your body, on your body too. Respect it. All right? Hold true to it. And success will come. That's all I'll say. But please do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, make sure you're hitting that follow button, okay? Follow me on those platforms, please and thank you. Don't forget to subscribe here on my main channel. Go to my secondary channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there because there's a lot of things I'm talking about over there that I'm not talking about over here and vice versa. Okay, guys? Hit that join button down below. Check out, become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay? I appreciate you guys. I'm glad we were able to have a conversation on this Saturday evening. If anything's popping off, if anything's breaking here, I might be back on in a couple hours. We'll see. Okay? If not, have a great rest of your Saturday wherever you're watching this show. Anyway, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.